Good morning. I'm Nancy. I'm located in New Orleans and I'm your facilitator this morning. Um, Racism is the slogan of the group Erace, which formed in New Orleans in the summer of 1993. We seek ways through person to person communication to show that we are committed to treating all human beings with love, respect, empathy, compassion, and humility. Join us. Erace is an organization that does not espouse any political party and we have no religious affiliation. We believe in acceptance of all people and no personal attacks of any kind will be tolerated. We come with the intention to listen, learn, and not to argue. Okay. The land acknowledgement. We begin today by acknowledging that what we know as the United States is the ancestral and unceded territory of many indigenous peoples, and that there are many more nations and tribes that could be named here. Members of our meeting group today are on the lands of the Chitimacha and the Choctaw in New Orleans, the Creeks and Cherokees in Atlanta, the Tonkawan, Lipan, Apache, and Comanche in Austin, the Lenape and Piscataway in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, the Wampanoag and Nipmuc peoples in Boston, the Kahlua and Mojave in Riverside, and the Lumbee in Fayetteville. We thank their ancestors for being stewards of these lands through the generations and through today. We need to protect and honor the history and people of these places despite centuries of colonial theft and violence. And we should always remember that we are still on indigenous land and it will always be indigenous land. Okay. All right. We are now going to go around and introduce ourselves. I know everybody knows everybody that's here, but we're just going to just say your name and where you're from. And I'll start with who I see on my screen. Phyllis.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Phyllis. I'm in New Orleans. I've been coming since 2008.
Marion.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Marion in New Orleans. I've been attending race discussions since June of 1993.
Louise.
Louise, been coming to these meetings since mid 90s, first in New Orleans, and now thanks to Katrina, I'm in Austin, Texas.
Hey, Beatrice.
Beatrice in East Point outside of Atlanta. Been coming to Erace since probably 94, 93, 94.
Thank you. And Teresa.
I'm Teresa. I'm in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I've been coming since August 2022.
Very good. Okay. Couple housekeeping rules. Okay. We keep ourselves on mute until we raise a finger to get on the list. We speak in order of the list. We try to keep our comments to 2 minutes. We are respectful. We do not interrupt the speaker. There are no side comments and no personal attacks, no name calling. You can ask a clarifying question of the speaker by raising 2 fingers. All right. A clarifying question is, could you please, I didn't understand what you meant, or could you please further explain what you meant by? Okay. Let's see. We will continue until roughly about 11:15. At that point, we will have a wrap up and you can give your final thoughts in 1 minute. Anyone who hasn't spoken has the full 2 minutes. Okay, I think that's it. All right, the reason that I brought the topic. Well, one of the reasons that I brought the topic is because I didn't get home until after 10 o'clock on Thursday night. So I had to kind of hurry up and rush and find something for the meeting this morning. And when I was in the emergency room, you know, they have televisions in there now so that you can watch TV. And they were showing Trump at the University of Alabama. And so I guess I, I can't, I can't, commencement can't already have happened because this is just May 1st. But, oh, it did happen already? Anyway, he was speaking at the University of Alabama, which I found an article about not only the University of Alabama trying to clean up, I guess, conform to what he wants as far as DEI in advance of him coming. But also, initially, I had first looked at an article about Harvard. They're threatening to take away funding from Harvard because of their DEI initiatives. They won't back down. And also, they have um, special groups, clubs and groups for certain segments of their student population that is either based on race, gender, sexual orientation, things like that. So they want to take away their funding for those activities. And so I just thought that, that would be something, for us to discuss because there are a lot of, to me, violations involved in that. Not only are you targeting um, racial groups or sexual, any marginalized group, I'll just put it like that. You're targeting certain marginalized groups. But also, isn't that a violation of two violations, actually, of freedom of expression, all right, and also right to assembly? All right. If you're going to deny these organizations the ability to do that. So anyway, I just thought that that would make a good topic. So hence the article. That's why I brought it. Okay, and then we're very short on time to kind of get it together. So anyway, having read the article, who would like to be on the list? Marion. Thank you, Mary. You can go, Marion. You got to unmute and Beatrice. Did you unmute, Marion? You still look like you're muted. There you go.
Okay, all right. I had to go to telling this little computer is just nuts. This is an outrage to say the least. Uh, I told somebody I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. Who in the ham fact does this man think he is? I know he's a wannabe dictator. I don't I don't quite get this, him thinking that people are just going to be silent about this and that maybe he believes there's nothing that people are going to do. Thank goodness there are alumni associations. I know my old alma mater has a fundraiser every year. There is an alumni group that's very vocal and very faithful. So people are going to have to really rally around in a big way, stand their ground, speak out, because there's definitely a movement on the part of this individual to stifle free speech. And if people just sit by and maybe not say anything, but there were protests from what I heard in every state this past week, protesting against this nonsense. And nonsense is too mild a word. But I think this is all in this person's plan to become a dictator. And if people just stand by and don't say anything, it's going to be the biggest mess we've ever seen. How dare this creature think that he can get away with something like this? It's
All
an
right.
outrage.
Thank you, Marion. Okay. Beatrice is next.
There's so much that is disturbing in this particular article, but I'm just delighted that the University of Alabama faculty did sign this petition or this resolution that they voted on. It's what is happening to or attempting to happen to universities, especially what they call what the Mr. Trump says are universities that are against his policies. They're not with him. Harvard and the guise is anti-Semitism, that they're not doing enough with anti-Semitism, which is, of course, is ridiculous. But it's just so much, as I'm saying, there's so much that is concerned in this article that people are pushing for that is, it hurts marginalized people. It hurts people. And closing Black student unions or sending back money that was for Black scholarships, these kinds of things, it's maddening, it's disturbing, it's worrying. I had the great displeasure of listening to Christopher Rufo, who is with the Manhattan Institute. He is this guy who pushed forward the idea that critical race theory was something bad. And he pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. And now his idea is that anything that works to level the playing field is discrimination. So he's saying if discrimination was wrong in the past, discrimination is wrong now. So he's saying we shouldn't have colleges where there are graduations for a certain group of students, or there's a certain student union. He's just over the top with wanting to say in his own words, it's a race-free society. This is we have to all be equal. So these issues that are the faculty says they're having a chilling effect. Of course they are. People are afraid to speak, afraid of what they can teach. And it is just disturbing that universities, places where we should have free thought, conversation, reflective thinking, learning, openness, and are just, some of them are.
Would you like to get back on the list?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have Louise and Teresa. I'll put Beatrice back on. Louise?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was driving to the store today and just feel we're in a dystopian movie. It's not real, it's not. I think the one that hit me the most, to be honest, is they want to stop funding for NPR and PBS, for goodness sakes. I mean, what? That's like, you know, I can't even think about what my analogy would be for that, but it's, and he says that it's because they do biased views or they have untrue. It's bollocks. It's the truth. They speak, for both. They actually are very well balanced, and it's my only source as well as Al Jazeera. That's my only two sources for news. I don't really look at or read anything else. So for me, that was just a big thump in the stomach, and I'm still in disbelief, really. And the colleges, I wonder, like, what would happen to them then if professors do teach or encourage discussions on such. What, I mean, are they going to fire them? I mean, what? It's a shame that people are so scared. He's made people scared to speak the truth and to be open, and that's the frightening part, right? So yeah, uh, that's all I've got to say for now. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Louise. Next we have Teresa.
Okay, so my first point is the only speech that's protected is their own speech. They don't care about First Amendment rights across the board. So, when they shut us down, that's because, we're saying things that's counter to their narrative. And isn't it interesting, like in the past, there was always this talk of the founding fathers started this nation, the founding fathers. You don't hear anything about the founding fathers. They did write the Bill of Rights. The first one was, again, the freedom of speech, but also the separation of church and state. I hear that Catholic schools are basically going to now get public money, even though it's supposed to be a separation of church and state. The question of who says that a judge can, one judge can dict or overrule what the president says. And it's like, well, didn't the founding fathers set it up to be checks and balances and three branches of government? And kind of what Marion was talking about, like, don't they teach social studies? Don't they teach civics anymore? So, when he does things that you would think are against the founding fathers, they don't say anything about that. Um, as far as this article is concerned about the loss of basically DEI and the scholarships, it's not just the loss of the perspective and diversity of a university, but it's also that loss of money. I mean, I would think if I were an institution, all money was good money because you can pay for stuff and have this wonderful, rich program. And why isn't they want everything to be state school, just like, Fox News is the state TV and what is it, Newsmax? Or I can't even keep up with them. They're like weeds after a spring rain and they pop up and get attention. And as far as the I don't recognize what's going on, I realized that I didn't come up with the word marvelized, but thinking that your experience is something out of a Marvel movie. Although I more relate to Batman, as you guys know, that's DC Comics, but I still say
Teresa, would you
we
like to
are
get
dealing with
back on
these
the
villains.
list?
Yes, because I wrote out what I wanted to say and I still have some more points, but thank
Okay,
you.
good. All right. All right, Beatrice, you're up again.
Um, the resolution that the faculty signed is requesting that the administration declare their ongoing support for academic freedom. Now, the key issue is for me that it is the administration that also needs to make a firm stand. See, these faculty people, in light of what may or may not, what is threatening to happen to them, have decided to have a spine and stand up. You need to have administrators. That's one thing the principal, the president of Harvard, who is Jewish, said that that for them to talk about anti-Semitism, about them allowing anti-Semitism is just off, is absolutely not so. Also, the other thing is the other side of the whole thing. The administration of our federal administration, I hate to call that man's name, are threatening to take people's 501(c) status away from them. I mean, they are really going after universities, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And on the issue of Catholic schools and public funding, the Supreme Court, hopefully they will not decide that charter school in Oklahoma, that is a charter school, cannot receive public funds. They cannot have a charter school that has a religious affiliation. So that's what the issue is, and hopefully the Supreme Court will not decide that. But the whole this for us to be grappling with something like this, that someone is trying to destroy the opportunity for universities to be places where there is openness for various points of view. This shows you where we are in terms of the leadership of this country. These people's little minds are so small that just the thought that anybody can think anything that is not within their understanding, there's something wrong with them. And that especially if it has to do with the history of this country, which is much fraught with so much awfulness and pain, that we can't listen to that. Our children feel. I know I'm going over. Georgia had a rule last year called divisive concepts, that in the schools they cannot teach anything that will make white children feel guilty. Well, hell, we've been feeling guilty all out and hurt and guilty and pained all our lives. Why would we feel doesn't matter? It is a very difficult time. But this, as I said, this article has a lot to be concerned with, but mainly I want to see administrations of colleges and universities stand up and not just cower to this man. and to his.
Okay, thank you, Beatrice. Next we have Teresa. Teresa?
I'm here. Sorry, I
Okay,
was
that's all
doing my
right.
laundry. I can still talk. So, you know what the Orange Menace wants is for him to stamp his foot, do an adult temper tantrum, and then people change. I never thought much of the Ivy Leagues, but I was very proud of Harvard for standing their ground. They got enough money, first of all. They have such wonderful financial backing. I don't even know why they even charge tuition anymore. But recently Bezos of Amazon fame was going to put how much more that products were going to cost due to the tariffs. And the Orange Menace called him up, had a conversation, and now that's not happening. And unfortunately, if one of the top 10 richest guys in the world is going to not stand up to Trump, you almost think, well, what's the fate of other people who don't have as much power? I was actually, because I'm not an avid shopper, but I stopped shopping on Amazon and Target and uh all these other places that people say, oh, I'm going to boycott. I'm not much of a shopper anyway, but the times that I do, I know I can go to my local whatever and get whatever else I need. And that's what it is going to take. And I should have my wine glass out because kudos to Tesla for wanting Elon to step down. They were just like, no, you are accountable to the shareholders. So there is a way, but it's not going to happen if even the people who have the power and the money to battle with him just acquiesce. I feel like 2 minutes are up.
You
So,
had 10 seconds.
well, let me just say I like to get back on the list.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, actually, there we go. You could get back on the list because there's no one else on the
Oh,
list. And I was going
so
to
no.
ask, is anybody
Okay.
else?
Well, we
Okay,
can.
Beatrice. Okay.
I'll go after
Um,
Beatrice yeah. I'll go after
Well,
Beatrice.
okay, is that all right, Nancy?
that's fine. That's
All
great.
right, Don. I just wanted to point out it says the resolution said, and this is again back to what the faculty did at UA. The resolution said the closure of local Black student union and LGBTQ center safe zone affects not just historically marginalized students, but everyone at the university. My goodness, you're closing, they closed the Black student union. Why? Because it's for Black people and we don't want anything just for one group. And the isolation and that people feel, especially African American students that are maybe at a majority white organization, they need that kind of support. They need that. LGBTQ people, can you imagine that the place where you used to go and they said a center safe zone where people, what are you doing? We're killing the spirits of the children and allowing them not to be able to learn about other people, not to be able to appreciate differences, and to know that there's humanity across the board. But whatever your gender, this is beyond just what's happening in universities. It is a new concept of what it means to be an American. Who is worthy? Cis white men making bad decisions, which is what colonialists have made. Europeans have gone all over the world, killing people, taking their land, going to Africa, like the people say, when they got to the continent of Africa, the Africans had the land, the missionaries had the Bible. When they left, missionaries had the land, the Africans had the Bible. I mean, going all over the world. And so now we are destroying, or apparently destroying, what the America is supposed to be, in light of this kind of foolishness, this DIA kill everything that is not white and doesn't show America as the great shining nation on the hill. We were always troubled. We always had the original sin of enslavement, and so we just can't you can't wash it away. I'm just I don't know. I need to not say anything. Oh, thank you.
Yes, no, you
Moderating.
can say as much as you like, but you got to get back on the list. So, Teresa, you're next.
Nancy, your comment remind me of that one joke where the
Phyllis.
guest preacher asked the minister, "How long can I preach for?" And he said, "You can preach as long as you want, but the congregation is leaving at 12." Um, so, my final point that I had written down was that you're getting rid, or this administration wants to get rid of all the DEI, but they're not replacing people with the best and the brightest. And the Orange Minister particularly said that the reason why Waltz wasn't fired when he invited a reporter in on the Signal chat, which it shouldn't have been on Signal to begin with, was because he didn't want give the impression that he had put incompetent people in position. Well, we already knew that. We knew that back when he wanted Matt Gaetz to be AG. And that is so far the one thing that congressional Republicans have done that I've actually liked is not let him be AG. And I knew I would, celebrate because that was going to be far and few in between, but no one is standing up for that. So universities like Harvard, I can see. I don't know about this Alabama university. I don't think they have as much money as Harvard does. And, you know, having people to scramble because you need the funding from at the federal level, whatever we come out at the end, it's just like at a certain point, and this is what I said about, oh, I forget his name, DeSantis. I said he's going to be so bad that he's going to implode, and I'm waiting for the implosion because you can't have a structure if you just you keep attacking the United States. And I recently heard that, oh, it's not an American value. Something, I have to look this up just as soon as I finish with my laundry here. The quote about Americans don't value having money or something of that. Something really stupid, one of those 1984-ish doublespeak types of statements, but I'm going to find you the receipts in just a second.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Phyllis.
Well, I just wanted to piggyback on what Beatrice said. It's been I have to constantly remind myself, and it's been very demoralizing, that America has never been what it was supposed to be. Everything we've been taught about what it was has been untrue. And at this point, I'm fed up with almost everybody who's holding elected office in the country. I'm not as easily wooed by a Democrat saying something as I used to be. I want to see what they're actually doing. Like Bernie and AOC on their Fight Oligarchy tour or whatever it is, but what are they doing besides going out and giving speeches? I want to see action, and I think the only way real change is going to happen is if people rise up and make it happen. And so, yeah,
Marion.
Nothing that a Democrat does these days kind of woos me or makes me think, oh, they're good, and that started to go away with the end of the Biden administration and Kamala's campaign. And, we were told that they were working tirelessly for a ceasefire in Gaza, and it has come out this past week, I think, that they indeed were not. And that was not surprising to me. That's all for now. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Phyllis. Next we have Marion, and then the list is open. You have to unmute, Marion.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Day before yesterday, what is the day? Saturday, Thursday. No, it was yesterday. I saw something online, several comments by Jamie Raskin, one of the Democratic congresspersons. He said that they're considering impeachment of 47. I said considering, well, it would have to take two Republicans to go along with that in order to have the number of people necessary to start impeachment procedures. But someone said a few minutes ago about being scared, and I admit I'm scared too because I'm thinking this person is said he was going to expel Americans, not just people who have come across the border illegally. So in the back of my mind, when he said Americans, I thought about people that look like me. And I wouldn't put it past that individual to try to uh, send people back to the land of their ancestors. Twice in my life, I've been told go back to Africa, and not in no uncertain terms. So I'm thinking this man might just try to enforce military action. And I'm concerned about that. And that would be a horrible tragedy. I really wouldn't put it past him if he would try to expel somebody. It looks like people that look like me.
All right. Thank you, Marion. Would you like to get back on the list?
I'm,
The
I'm
list is open, so
oh,
that means there's plenty of room for Louise and Amal and Glenn to make your thoughts known. Malcolm, to make your thoughts known. I mean, you gotta have, I would think, some opinion on the direction, not just DEI, but where the country is headed or where the current president, can't even stand to say his name, is leading the path that it's leading this country down. And I definitely have to agree that this country has never been what it professed to be. Never,
Well,
ever.
well, let me,
Since it's Malcolm, would you like to get on the list?
yeah, put me on the list.
Okay.
Good morning,
All right.
ladies and gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning. All right, continue.
Well, let me do a couple of things. One is I read the article. I think that um, him being invited to speak at Alabama was a little bit disconcerting to me that universities would allow him to come and speak with the rhetoric that he's been speaking over the 100 days that he's been here. So I think that Alabama and other universities have acquiesced to him. And so now they're going to bow down to him so they don't lose their money. So now we have a situation where he has threatened to, you know, uh, Justice Department to either do what he tells them to do, or he'll find somebody that will. And the Justice Department is doing his will. So now we got people being picked up on the streets everywhere, and then put in to detention centers. We have raids down in Colorado Springs, for instance, here in Colorado, of 100 people, and then and the one person you keep is a military guy who was supposed to be selling drugs as the doorman at this club. Uh, you what you have done on two different raids, basically, and no charges being filed, you scared everybody into even going to a party. So I think that before we talk about impeachment, and I don't think you could ever get enough until he's got to you got to catch him with his hands on things and a statement that really is impeachable. So right now he's on the verge. He's not in, you wouldn't have enough to impeach him.
Malcolm, your 2 minutes is up. Would you like
Thank
to
you.
get back on the list now?
I'll get back
Actually,
on the list.
the list is open. So would anyone else like to? Louise, thank you.
Actually, that last comment, Malcolm, that you said that people are even frightened to go to parties, leads me to say yes. Loads of, I mean, it's affecting people's way of life, their feeling of well being, and everything because they are so scared um being taken away or disappearing. My One of my nephews came to visit me. His name is Yusuf El Subki. He doesn't look particularly brown, but he's Egyptian, and he came to visit, and it was great. But part of me was like, be careful when you're going, back or coming. I was just worried about him going through immigration and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. He's here for a week and he's just visiting, and yet that's in my brain. So I can only imagine someone who has more to worry about, how it affects them. This is just, sorry, I was going to cuss just then. It's terrible, and it's causing people to be on edge and uh to create mental problems for us all, basically. um and even those of us who are really well balanced are stressing out, and that's not good for us. So yes, that's it. Sorry. Thanks.
That's okay. Thank you, Louise. Thank you for your commentary. Okay. Um, Malcolm, you can continue um, your original thought, and then the list is open. I also want to comment that, you know, this is kind of what it reminds me. Well, there are a lot of things that it reminds me of in terms of like McCarthyism, even though that was in the 50s and, you know, I was still, toddling around in those high top white shoes they used to put us in back in the day.
Oh, oops.
Teresa's face is frowned up, but the rest I see Marion and Louise and Beatrice smiling. They know what I'm talking about, right? Um, but but to me, this is the beginning of that era. This is how it starts. This is how Hitler starts. This is how Stalin starts. This is how Tiananmen Square. This is how all these things begin, is what we're seeing now. Anyway, Malcolm, go ahead. And Amal and
Well,
Grundy
I
being
guess
awfully quiet.
Thank you. I guess I'm kind of thrown back by the fact that we haven't really set
Right.
out a policy or an agenda for what we're going to do as a society, Democratic Party or independents or anything else. And so I'm looking at the fact that you have a press secretary who can go up to the podium and just cut people apart and call people names and stuff like that. And we all just seem to be, we're so upset about it, but we have not harnessed our energies together to take on the present administration. So um, I guess from what I was saying earlier, I guess I continue to feel that until we have established some kind of policies that are going to say what direction we're going in, we're going to be still out here floundering, and he knows it, and they know it, and they're taking advantage of that. So, all I'm just saying at this point, when I look at the article, I'm it's not not nothing that we don't know. The man is the most ignorant person I've seen uh, uh, in office, except for maybe Kennedy down there in Carolina somewhere. I can't handle him, but I guess somehow or another we need to marshal together some kind of direction, and then have a point that we need to make and go after. So I appreciate my time with you.
Thank you. You're right on time, too. Right on time. Okay, next I have Glenn and then Beatrice. Anyone else? Okay, Glenn.
Yes, uh, if you want to use history to see where Trump going to go, you want to use Mussolini, you want to use Hitler. What was the end of those people? Mussolini wind up him and his girlfriend getting strung up. Uh, Hitler wind up throwing gasoline on it, shooting himself in the head and throwing gasoline on himself. That's the end of Trump. These things uh, uh, are cyclical. It happens. It happens in history, time and time again, and people eventually. He, these people went to war. Mussolini went to war and brought ruin to his country. Hitler went to war and brought ruin to his country. Now, the same thing gonna happen with Trump. Maybe it won't be a physical war.
Luis.
Maybe it won't be a physical. Maybe it will be just this tariff war that will cause people to become enraged and ready to string them up. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you. Louise has a clarifying question.
Yeah. So, Glenn, you believe that Trump would commit suicide or that someone would kill him?
Believe me, if you look at the actual footage of Hitler and Mussolini, these people was having nervous breakdowns. People, uh, uh, their souls had so bothered them, it was more easier to commit suicide than it was to stay alive.
Right, but they had souls.
Okay.
Do
Do
you,
you want to get on the list, Louise?
I just wanted to ask him for a definite answer that does he think Trump will kill himself?
Quite possible.
Okay, that's it.
All right. Okay. Next we have Beatrice.
A couple of things. One, there's a Langston Hughes poem that says America is not America to me, but America will be. So that's kind of comment on what Phyllis is saying, absolutely correct. Another thing is that Congress has the power of the purse. They can stop the tariffs. The thing is that we have people in positions, elected positions, who are sycophants. It's the ones that haven't broken their backs. They've stooped down so low to lick this man's boots. And they have they can stop, they could vote to stop the tariffs. The power of the purse belongs to the Congress. And so that's a concern. I mean, people who are in positions of power, especially the majority party, have a moral responsibility to stand up and stop what's going on. And I think that it's easy for us to say what another party should do. I think people are doing a good job of going out in the streets at least and hollering at people at town halls the best they can, people who will have town halls. I think we all need to do what we can where we are. Because like that poem says, when they were speaking about the Holocaust, that they came for this group and I didn't speak up, and they came for that group and I didn't speak up. And then when they came for me, there was no one to speak. In other words, it is my responsibility to do what I can to stop what is happening with this orange jackass. However, the courts, the Congress, these are the people who need to rein in this fool and this other person who hopefully he'll go back. He's lost 71% of the profits of his crazy business. Maybe he'll go back. I just think we just need to do what we can, but not give up. But it's very disturbing, and I think people like Glenn, who can quote the history and have a long view of things, it can feel in a way comforting, but at least, I mean, if there's an end, if something happens to him, do I want J.D. Vance, who I think almost gave a stroke to our Pope? I mean, do we want him to be in charge of anything? So it is, these are difficult
Glenn.
times, hard times.
Okay, thank you,
Yeah.
Beatrice. Next we have Glenn, and then the list is open again. Okay, so Glenn. Glenn?
Okay, I'm open
All
now.
right.
Yeah, we on video, so we have to be very careful what we say about the
The list.
president of the United States, especially when we're talking about him, his demise, because you can be arrested for that on the extent of what you say it. But now, if he goes, nobody else has that charisma that he has. You know, J.D. Vance, he won't have it. People are not going to follow him like they followed you. And now back on the college, I don't hold the Alabama allowing Trump to speak there because they see what they cannot afford it. They cannot afford this man to attack them, to take away those federal funds. They can't afford it. And these other colleges that have bowed to him because they just can't afford to resist what he has, what he the what he has the power that he has in government. IRS, he has the IRS to attack. He has the Justice Department to attack. So he has so many weapons and you have none. So I'll just leave it at that.
All right. Thank you, Glenn. Right on time. Next we have Phyllis.
So it actually is no great comfort to me that dictators from history met bad ends, because how much suffering was inflicted until that happened. Either their own people rose up, or they died in war, whatever, committed suicide. I think we can't just look back at history and say, well, they eventually lose their minds and whatever. We have to be more proactive than that. And I don't have super great answers about that, but I don't think, as I said previously, that the Dems are our answer. And I certainly wish they were. But I think they are as enmeshed in the system that is corrupt as the other party is. They all get something out of this current situation. So yeah, I think the reason the vice president was picked was because he doesn't threaten the ego of the president. He isn't a strong enough person, and the same for the previous vice president he had. So that's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Next we have Teresa.
Yes, I wanted to weigh in on the Orange Menace's
Go ahead.
health. I don't know if you guys remember for the first presidency where they said he was 6'1". And that 1 inch meant that he was just, and they lied about his weight too, that he wasn't morbidly obese. So from those years ago to now, that doctor, and he always got some kooky doctor to basically lie about his medical exam, but now he's 6'3". Did y'all know that? Did you hear that? I only know because I watch Jimmy Kimmel. And or one of the late night comedians who said they looked at other men who were professional athletes who were 6'3" and 200 and some pounds, like they said the Orange Menace was. And they said, okay, this is what that body looks like, and here's what his body looks like. So what I think, even though they're lying about his health, I still think the way he's going to go is something like straining on the toilet and trigger an aneurysm. That's what I'm going on the record. Nobody has to do anything that he's already that high fat diet and processed foods. It's just like, no, I cannot possibly believe that he is as healthy. And you look at when he is standing, I'm surprised he even allows cameras to take the side view of him because he's got a definite lean forward. So that's my 2 cents on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. All right, Glenn, you're next.
Yeah, Trump is being, he's not, you know, the world is not just waiting for him to end up like Mussolini and Hitler. There is, there is some hard resistance going on in the world. You know, the courts of the United States are fighting him. Uh, the China is fighting him. The Houthis is fighting him. You know, it's you know, uh, uh, Japan, who has been our partner, say that they're not going to submit to a bullet. You submit one time, they're gonna come back for more. So the 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 forces that are in nature are against him. Just wait till them Walmart shelves get empty, and they're going to get empty because he's too slow to admit that he made a mistake putting all those tariffs on China. Oh, the pressure gonna mount. That's why he go out and have a rally to lift his spirit. He ain't running for no a president right now, but he had to go out and have a rally because his spirit is so damaged. He need praise from a crowd. Yeah, y'all look at him as nothing affects him. Oh, he's an emotional wreck. Talk to you later.
Talk to her. Okay, that's it. You out? Okay. All right, the list is open. All right, we have Louise and then Phyllis.
Um, a little off, well, not off topic, but off from your the article. Did
Mhm.
anyone see Bill Maher went to go to the White House and visit with him, and
Mhm.
then what he said about it, and said
Mhm.
that he's actually a really, I don't think he used the word nice, but I mean, almost. I
Yeah.
mean, it blew my mind. I mean, I didn't think much of Bill Maher anyway. I think he's a complete wanker. Sorry, English swear word. Um, he, um, but that just blew my mind. It's like, really? No, just big no for that. Um, anyway, I just wondered what yours thoughts were on that.
Okay, Teresa. No, we have Phyllis and then Teresa.
Okay.
All right, not Phyllis. I was just scratching my ear.
You didn't want to be on the list?
No,
Well, where'd your finger come from? Okay, then we
I
have
was
Teresa.
scratching my ear.
Okay,
Well, it's a good
Teresa.
thing we weren't at an auction because Phyllis, you would have been on a
Yeah,
hook
you would
for
have been.
whatever the bid
Yeah,
was. I was just gonna say, I am an avid watcher of
yeah,
Bill Maher, and yes, I do practice my open mouth meditation when I'm talking about. He can't hear me, but yes. And it's interesting because in his show, he has admitted that the
Beatrice, I got you.
right wants him politically to come to their side by his comment. So he is entertaining enough, even though I disagree with what he says, but he has guests on who I value their opinion. So I really do like the quality of the guests that he gets on, even though I think he's grumpy grandpa. But it's interesting that the left, or excuse me, the right wants him to, and he's like, no, you guys don't believe in this, and he just names some things that are just old school traditional liberal things, which is interesting, his view. So I'm not going to dare watch Fox News or any of those other, but his show to me is right at the center. If he was any more to the right, I wouldn't watch the show at all. So he is a very interesting show just to see what the other side is. Because at some point, it's just like, if you guys would just say that you're writing or talking about a fiction, that's great. But the conspiracy theories and just the outright lies, I'm just not going to poison my brain with that. But I must admit, I do like his show mainly for the jokes. Not that I particularly agree, but also the caliber of guests that he gets on his show at times. So there you go, Louise. That's my 2 cents.
Okay. Thank you, Teresa. Next we have Beatrice. Beatrice.
Okay, it took a
Oh, there
minute.
you
I don't
go.
know why. I'm encouraged that other universities are fighting back. And the last paragraph, faculty at other universities around the country are pushing back against DEI legislation. Youngstown State University faculty submitted 4,500 voter signatures in opposition to legislation that will end DI. I think that we have to DI programming. There has to be a groundswell of people that are courageous enough to, in writing, with their bodies, showing up at protests. We have to continue to push to let the powers that be know that what you are doing is not only, and of course the courts, they're just so slow as hell, but to show that what is happening is not right. It is not legal, it is unconstitutional. These people in Illinois, they broke into people's house, took all their money, took their phones, and they were in the right house, but it was the wrong people because the people who they were looking for had moved. This is not America. So we have to keep on fighting and reminding them of who we are supposed to be. And I'm hopeful that there are forces in the universe that the cascading results of things like the tariffs and the empty shelves that Glenn is talking about, that all of this is going to come to a head. And hopefully people in elected positions will get together and do what they're supposed to do. Because that they're supposed, we sent them there to do our work. This crazy Marjorie Taylor Greene is throwing people out of her town halls if they say no. I mean, and tasing people. I mean, we sent these people there to do a job for us. You have a job. You were hired to do a job. Do your job. But anyway, I'm just encouraged by the fact that other universities are striking back and standing up.
Okay, thank you. What is that? Okay. Marion.
As far as speaking out, a few minutes ago, I shared with the group that there are protests going on in every state, but I know online, I know you all check your computers regularly. There are uh, groups that call themselves Never Trumpers, and some Republicans are in the groups as well. So they ask you, they will give you a questionnaire, uh, check off, yes or no. Do you think number 47 should be impeached? And some of them ask for financial support, and some of the groups do not. So I don't think people are so scared to that point. We're scared of the actions that this person is going to take. So to be encouraged that there is something to be done, you could go out and protest, you could sign petitions, you in person or online. But I think 47 is aware that everybody isn't going along with all of this stuff that he's doing to cause hardship to the citizens of this country. So this is what I'm just suggesting to the group. Uh, do it individually. I don't know. I'm not asking you all to sign a petition in the name of Erase because we are on Zoom. And as was cautioned a while ago, we have to be careful. Now, nobody has made any threats. I know I haven't, and I'm not even suggesting ill will. But I do believe that the Bill of Rights is still in effect, and we do have the option to speak out or sign a petition or join a protest or rally. So I don't think that we are so terrified to the point where some of us or all of us are not going to take some kind of an action. I will say this, I'm not afraid to say, I'm glad that he's not a young man and that we as mortals will pass away. All of us are going to leave this planet one day. So, as I said, I'm not making any kind of threats, and I certainly don't want to see anybody ruin his or her life by committing some kind of action that will cause their demise or cause
Okay. Well,
prison.
thank you, Marion. Your two
Okay.
minutes is up. Was there something specific that you wanted us to do?
As I said, there are
Because you're
petitions.
kind of vague, and I'm not sure what it is you want us to do.
Petition. I said as a group, I don't know if we wanted to sign a petition in our names,
To do what?
in our name, protesting that this man, saying flat out that this man should be impeached. I'm not advocating physical violence, but since we still have, I said at the beginning of my remarks that the Bill of Rights, as far as I'm concerned, is still in effect, and we do have the power of expression. We're not uh, under the will of a dictator, even though I believe that's the end goal for this person to become a dictator. So I was just throwing out the
Okay.
the suggestion if that's what we wanted to do, we would like to do, but because I've already taken my steps.
Okay. Well,
But
thank
we
you,
as a group,
Marion.
I'm sorry if I was vague, everybody.
You were to me anyway. Okay, thank you. Um, time is it? It's 11:04. Is anyone okay? Malcolm,
I don't want. I'm not going to take a lot of your time up, but
that's fine. Take as
I
much
just.
time as you
I
want.
guess. I guess I want to say to Marion. Yeah, I think some of the things that you're talking about would be possible if we had the right kind of leadership on the Democratic or independent side to approach this whole thing. I think at this point, our legislators that we have there, the Democratic Party, they're not ready to go to war over an impeachment situation, which could end up being very bloody to some of them. I think the ballot box at the midterms may be the relief we're looking for. And if that's possible, then I think that we should organize and make sure that people get out to vote for the midterms. Beyond that, I think that all of us need to just sit back and realize what he's done that is unbelievably uh, hard to accept after we fought so hard to get some things, is that half of his cabinet is not that well educated, not that well informed, and he wants to have nerve enough to think that uh, DEI hires are the worst. He's suggesting that it's the reason they're having problems at the airports is that their DEI controllers up there, air traffic controllers, that the whole DEI thing is that's hurting little white kids about their consciousness and their emotions, but hadn't thought about the little brown and black kids and Asian kids who have suffered through countless attacks on their emotional stability and their personality traits and so forth. So I give you a wide range of things to think about, and I hope that what we do or should do is make sure that we understand what we want to accomplish, and then make sure that we go the right path to get that done, where at the same time we gain support and not lose support.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Malcolm. Okay. Excuse me. It's 11:07. Does anyone else have any comments that they'd like to make? All right. So if not, we can kind of go to the wrap up right now. And the only person that hasn't spoken is Amal. So Amal, would you like to give your final thoughts?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Great article. And I appreciated everybody's comments. I was actually thinking about the scholarship that was intended for the Black students and how they just pulled that away. And one of the things, University of Alabama is a powerhouse for sports. So I was wondering if they was pulling back the scholarships for the Black athletes that would be coming there to participate in sports. And so that was the one thought that came across my head. As far as DEI is concerned, I don't see enough outrage, at least from what I've observed, from white women about DEI, because it affects them too. And I don't see a lot of white women talking about it. Usually when they talk about DEI, the face is somebody of color, not necessarily white women. So that was another thought that I had. And as far as Donald Trump is concerned, the things that Donald Trump are doing now, I'm actually not surprised by, only because everything that he felt like he couldn't accomplish his first go around, he's trying to implement that now. So that's his mentality. I couldn't get you the first time, but I'm gonna stick it to you this time. And so I think that's what he's doing. And it's called, I don't think he understands the long-term ramifications of what he's doing and what it will cause. But at the same time, I just don't think he care. And in him not caring, we're seeing the ramifications of that. So that's all I had. I didn't really have much to say. It was a great article though, and I appreciated what everybody else had to say.
Thank you, Amal. Okay. Now I'll call you in the order as I see you on the screen, and you can give your final thoughts. Keep it to like a minute. Marion. Unmute.
I'm trying to unmute it here harder. I'm glad we addressed this. By doing this, we're showing that we may have apprehension, that we're scared. I already said I was scared. I'm thinking also that there are a lot of people that go along with this, and they think that this is hurting people. They're hurting the people that they want to be hurt, and it's not affecting them, but it is. It's affecting all of us in a very negative way. And as I said earlier, it's a good thing he's not a very young man, so he doesn't have, there are more years behind him than in front of him. So he's doing some damage now, but that's going to come to an end.
Okay.
Thanks for
Thank
the
you.
topic, Nancy. I'm glad we did this.
Thank you. Okay, Phyllis.
So I put a link to a Substack account in called Zateo, which is what Mehdi Hassan started when he left whatever network he was on. Which was an interview I listened to with a American Italian Jewish comedian, and part of what they talked about was Bill Maher. So I thought that was interesting. I think a lot of people are really anxious now and are just, some people just go through their day and just try to get through their day and, you know, not think about it too much. But I do think things will get worse. Things are going to have to get worse to wake more people up, unfortunately. And also I want to say it, there aren't a lot of views of our videos on YouTube, so don't worry. Thank you.
Thank you, Phyllis. Okay. Next is Teresa.
Thanks for bringing this article. I hadn't heard about it. Of course, I heard about the Harvard thing, but I should have known he's going after all universities and all things that are not saying or doing exactly the way he wants to shape the United States. And it kind of, you know, when you're talking about things getting worse and people having to get more outrage, I'm not sure if things getting worse is going to do it, because he's got media outlets who will justify anything he says and does and try to sell it to the American people. So that's, I don't know how you take away the desperation of some people to believe that what he's doing is right. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Teresa. Next we have Beatrice.
Yeah, thanks, Nancy, for the article, and thank you everyone for the conversation. It's very hard not to feel discouraged, especially as I've said before, having been in my college days in the civil rights movement and knowing what progress has been made on many fronts and seeing how things are turning back, and it's discouraging and dispiriting. Sometimes I think about a clock and you have 55 minutes of the hour hand going, minute hand going around. And that's the struggles that African American people have been in this country. And then for 5 minutes, somebody decided they were going to do affirmative action. They were going to have looking at hiring people and giving people opportunities. And so in 5 minutes, and then suddenly we can't do this anymore. This is working against the majority group. And so it's just hard not to be discouraged, but to know that in the end, right comes through. It takes work, but right will come through. And I have to believe that and always operate on that hope. Otherwise, your heart just breaks, and we can't live that way. We cannot live that way. You don't have enough strength to fight if you let your heart break.
It's true. It's true. Thank you, Beatrice. Louise.
Oh, Beatrice, I wish I had that view, the optimism, and I'm normally a very optimistic, half full person. But yeah, I am still just drowning in the disbelief, I guess, is the biggest feeling that I have for it all. And not just what's going on here, but of course what's happening in Gaza, and how the world has just ground to a halt with not seeming to give a crap about anyone else and and obvious genocide and obvious um, stuff that's going on here. I mean, it just boggles my mind. And by the way, I would like you all to maybe donate to Doctors Without Borders, if possible. That is a very, very, very important group that we need to support. Um, so my call is to do that, and yeah, and do some self care. Have you noticed self care has been coming up everywhere? That you have to look after yourself, self care. Yeah, so I guess we just need to do some of that as well. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Louise. Okay. Glenn.
Yes, excellent article. And uh, my my prediction, or my best guess, is that he's going to be the longest uh, tenure as a lame duck president in the history of presidency. That's coming up shortly, where he won't be able to get anything done that he wants to get done. That's my opinion. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Glenn. All right. Well, I really don't have a lot of commentary on my part. Like I told you in the beginning, I picked the article, for a number of reasons. Because I was running late, because I saw he was going to Alabama, because of Harvard, things like that, and that's why I picked it. I will say I have noticed Bill Maher has become more conservative as time has gone on from how he started. Um, he's more definitely like, I think Teresa, you said if he goes any more to the right, he's going to be in conservative camp, and he's starting to really work on my last nerve with that. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to be watching him either. But you're right, he does have some interesting people that come on and make interesting points. And so for that reason, I guess I'll still watch. It is scary to me to see like Beatrice and Marion, and who are old enough to remember before 1965. Um, and the civil rights, the activities that brought about the Civil Rights Act, okay, in 1965. And even though I was only like 10, 12 years old or whatever, but I definitely remember it happening at the time, but actually kind of being too young to understand the significance of that until I got older. Because like I said, I was only like 10. And it's very disheartening to see what is happening in light of that, you know. Um, at that time, if you look back, slavery had only been ended 100 years. Um, and then you still had to go through, Jim Crow and Great Migration and all these other things that um, the African American community has lived through. And to say that we are not a strong, resilient people. I mean, just all the lies and things that have they're lazy, they're it's just horrible because no group of people has gone through as much as the emancipated slave in this country and continue to survive. And then when you see that we are making gains and strides on our own, and we are showing you every single day that we are equal to anything that you can do, then you try to put things in place to knock us back down. It's horrible. It really is horrible. It's very demoralizing, extremely demoralizing. And it's not, anyway, I'm going to get off that soapbox, but that's what was going through my mind as you all were speaking. So thanks everyone who came. I guess, Phyllis, you can stop recording. If there are any announcements